So unit 1 we have seen, right? It's mostly on like functions of law, purpose of law, why is law necessary, that part. Apart from that, there
Yes.
is another part to unit 1, which is ideas of law. Okay, so now
Okay.
when there is a question on, like ideas of law, basically there is
Mhm.
one subject called jurisprudence, which you will be getting in some other semester. So
Okay.
jurisprudence is nothing like but theory of law, okay, like a philosophical concept on why law is necessary, what is law, okay, like the philosophical aspect of law basically. Okay, so when we study
Mhm.
jurisprudence, there are some theories also, like opinions
Mhm.
of different jurists. Okay, like what may be law according to you, it may be completely different from for me, right? So that is how there were different jurists who gave their own theories, their own ideas, their own concepts. What is law, from where
Okay.
law has come, why law is necessary, like that. Okay, so
Okay.
this is nothing but ideas of law. Like your idea on why law is necessary may be completely different from mine, like that. In earlier times also, amongst jurists there were like differences in terms of their opinion. So this is what we need to study here, ideas of law. Like in other subjects also, you will see definitions are given: definition of law, definition of custom, definition of legislation. Certain words are being defined. Those definitions are also different for different jurors. Okay, like if I ask you what is law, you may say something, but if you ask me the same question, I may say something else, another person will say something else. Like that, our definitions, our ideas, our concepts, it may vary from one person to the other. It's not that only you are correct or only I am correct. All of us are correct, but in a certain way or in another way. Okay, so when we study about ideas of law, all these different jurists or different philosophers, they are correct in their point of view. They have tried to justify it also, but there are differences. Okay, so that's what we need
Okay.
to study. So these are basically like opinions regarding origin and development of law. The first idea that
Mhm.
we have is natural law. Now, as the name itself suggests, right, it is what it is, natural law. From nature, it is coming,
Mhm.
not like man made, like in parliament, both the houses are sitting, they are deciding on it, debating on it, nothing like that. It is natural
Mhm.
laws. So, this philosophy believes that laws are not because of legislation or binding value of order as a sovereign. Today, if we consider what laws are, it is something passed by the parliament or state legislature. Why are we following the laws? Because of the binding value. If we do not follow it, we need to face the consequences. If we do not wear a mask, roam outside, we need to pay 500 or 2000 rupees fine. Just because we don't want that, we are following it. That is what the situation is at present. But natural law
Mhm.
philosophy believes that it's not that from parliament or state legislature or from some like established body law is coming. It's also not that people are following it just because of its binding value, but it
Mhm.
is born out of nature. It's like it is having like a very pure origin from nature only, it is coming. Humans have an inherent tendency to differentiate between right and wrong. Even if law is
Mhm.
there or not, even if we have studied law or not, we know, right, that this is right and this is wrong. Whatever we are doing, we try to justify it also, right? Whether we are doing a right thing or a wrong thing. Even if might be
Mhm.
we have not studied it in some written document, we still have this tendency of differentiating right and wrong. So this natural
Mhm.
law is taught to is not taught to human. It's not that we need to read it or it should be taught to us, but we already have that ability amongst us. So they inherited by making good and right decisions. We have that habit, and from that habit itself, we try to follow it. When we know that this is wrong, we try to avoid doing it. It's not because Parliament has passed the law, because I will face the consequences. No, because I know that this is wrong, I try to avoid it. That is what the concept is of natural law. Definitely, it's not like that much valid right now, but in earlier times, it used to be that ways, right? That even when we were not having a written law or something, people used to know that this is right, this is wrong. So we should always try to do the right things. That's how it started, it originated.
It is not something from the religious beliefs and something from parental guidance. All these things, maybe it will be affecting generations to acquire this one, no?
Yeah, those also would affect, but this is like very, like, you know, like very primitive stage where might be concept of family was also not that much established, where people just used to live in groups, and that time they realized, okay, fine, this is right or this is wrong. Okay, it's like very primitive concept where like from nature only it is like coming, people realize this is right, this is wrong. Okay, these things, religion, from parents, values are being transmitted to kids. These things are like of a later stage. Okay, so right and wrong, basically based on that only we have it. Another idea, so natural law is like, it's not binding on us, we ourselves realized, naturally we realized, and we are trying to follow it. But complete opposite to that, we have this idea which is called positive law or positivists. Positive law mainly says that it's not because of nature or because of anything, but it is purely man-made law, purely human-made law. So they believe, it says that statutes laid down the legislatures or rules, regulations by human institution. And John Austin was the prime supporter of positive law. So what laws are basically? According to him, it's like during the time of kings or queens. What used to happen? There will be one king. Whatever king is saying, like king would be always superior as compared to the other people, right? So king will be superior, who is having authority, who is having command. Law is nothing but whatever this superior person, the person in authority is saying, everyone else will follow that. But then there is no law as such to bind the sovereign. Okay, for the king, there is no law as such. In fact, in UK, there used to be this concept that king can do no wrong. Okay, so whatever the king is saying, it is right. King is not bound by any law or anything. But later on, this concept changed. That also falls under this positive law only. That laws are not because we realize it's right or wrong, but because it is like binding on us. We don't have any other option. King has said something, it is binding. Parliament has passed the law, it's binding on us. Okay, so law is nothing but something coming from a superior to other people, and others need to obey it. If we are not following it, there are consequences for that also.
Okay.
So the enacted laws or rules that we obey come under positive law. For example, we need to follow the laws or rules laid down by Motor Vehicles Act while driving or riding a vehicle. We need to wear a helmet, wear a seat belt. And if we do not follow it, we will be held liable. We need to face the consequences as well for breaking traffic rules or regulations. That is nothing but positive law. And today, all the laws that we see, those fall under positive law only. Because whatever law you see, right, it's not just talking about the rights and obligations, it will clearly mention the consequences also. Like during COVID, there were these rules or regulations framed without wearing a mask, you should not be roaming outside. But people were not following it. So fine was imposed, that 500 rupees or 2000 rupees fine will be imposed. That means it is coming from an established body, coming with a sanction also. If we do not follow, this will be the consequences. And that ensures that people are following it like properly, just because people are afraid of the consequences. Okay.
Okay.
Next is the idea of individualism. So individualism, they mainly believe that why do we need law? Law is needed to eradicate the hurdles that arise in freedom of human beings. So they believe that when people are left free, when there is no unnecessary restrictions, impositions on us, we are able to think about our own good. Okay, when people are left free without any sort of unnecessary restrictions, people are able to think about their own benefit, their own good, their own well-being, and we can work upon it. Okay, so it basically says that law should aim at providing maximum happiness to maximum people. Definitely, in a society, so many people are living. We have our different opinions, we have our different likings, dislikings. It all differs from person to person. So for law, it's not like possible that law would satisfy everyone, right? Because someone might be willing to party all night, someone may be willing to sleep peacefully at night, someone may be willing to study peacefully at night. We have our own preferences. Law cannot satisfy everything, but what law can do is law can try to provide maximum happiness to maximum people. Fine, even if few people are suffering, let them suffer. Law should try to satisfy as many people as it can. So what law will do? Law will think that, okay, fine, late nights people usually prefer like peace. Okay, there might be few people who want to party all night, leave them, let them be unhappy, but we will think about happiness of majority. There might be some people who want to study, some people who want to work peacefully at night, some people who want to sleep. So let's make these three sections happy because it is majority, and let's keep or ignore this one section. It is fine because we cannot satisfy everyone, but it's better if we are thinking about happiness of majority. Okay, so that is the concept of individualism, which says people are able to think about their own like well-being. Just what they need is they need freedom. They do not need unnecessary restrictions. And if unnecessary restrictions are not there, people will think about their own good. What law has to do is law has to think about maximum happiness to maximum people.
Okay, got it.
And whatever laws are there in a society or in the state, we need to test those laws, whether these laws are good or these laws are bad. So how we will test whether a certain law is good or not? We will test it by seeing whether it is providing maximum happiness to maximum people or not. So if there is a law which is allowing these minority section who want to party all night, if law is allowing them, and there is majority section who is suffering, that law is not good because it is not providing maximum happiness. So as simple as that, we need to test laws whether they are providing maximum happiness to maximum people or not. If yes, this law is good and valid enough to be applicable in a certain society.
Okay.
So when people are free, they are able to enjoy their rights, they will be able to focus on other aspects of their life. They will be able to think about their own good and other things. So the idea of individualism wants to bring laws which will try to provide maximum happiness or freedom to maximum number of people. That is the main concept, like individualism. Focus is on individual. Individual is equipped enough to work upon their own well-being. What law has to do is make the necessary arrangements by removing unnecessary hurdles, by thinking about greater good of the greater number of people. That is what the main purpose of law is. They don't need to do too much for the society, also too much for people. Also people are independent enough, people are able to do it, just they need to remove unnecessary hurdles and think about maximum happiness of maximum people. This is what is important. Okay.
Okay.
So natural law is like it is coming from nature itself. So people have inherent tendency to differentiate between right and wrong. From there it is coming. Positive law is completely like human made laws. It is coming from some command or sovereign, and it is binding on people. Why it is binding? Because of the sanction, because of the consequences. We are afraid of consequences, so only we are following it.
Okay.
Okay, next one is the idea of collectivism. So first one was individualism, this one is collectivism. Collectivism is opposite of individualism, as the name itself suggests. It is the idea that people should prioritize the good of society over welfare of individual. While introducing laws in a society, we should prefer the ones that provide collective good of the society. The laws that focus on welfare or betterment of individuals should not be preferred. So in a society, there will be a lot of people living. When a law is introduced, we need to think about collective good. Even though a certain law might be beneficial for the members of parliament, okay, for the MLAs, even in such a case, we should think about benefit of majority of the people. Okay, here like main focus is whatever law is passed, think about or try to introduce such laws which are providing which are including like maximum number of people. If take for example,
is it the same?
Sorry,
is it the same like individualism also same, no? Maximum happiness to
individualism is
only.
Yeah, individualism is that leave people free, don't interfere in their life. But here it is like laws can do whatever they want. If they are trying to interfere in people's life, trying to do whatever it is doing, it can do. But main thing should be most number of people should be covered in it. But individualism is like let people be free. They can think about their own well-beings. Only focus of law is maximum happiness of maximum people. If you are doing something, do something which is providing maximum happiness to maximum people. That is like it is limiting the function of law in case of individualism. Okay, it is saying that people are already in a better position. Function of law is very much minimum. But in case of collectivism, yeah, just like how we accept today that law is very important and everything, law is needed. But it should prioritize good of society over welfare of a smaller section of people. Okay, so whatever laws are introduced, it should think about benefit of this entire like population. Like if we take the example of this farm bills, which were introduced, right, which were proposed and introduced. In that case, what happened? Majority section were suffering, right? Majority was the farmers. They were suffering. That means based on collectivism, that law is not good because it is not providing like prioritizing good of the society. Majority people are suffering. Only few were happy with the legislation. So that law is not valid as per collectivism.
Okay.
This difference, is it clear? Individualism and collectivism?
Yeah, now it is clear. Yeah, because when you were initially telling, I was a little bit confused on the individualism. It looks like same like a collectivism, but I got it now, the idea. Collectivism means the law will be like, it will be focused on, the law will be interfere with our privileges and all, but it will be focusing on entire population.
Yes.
But in the individualism, it will not interfere on our personal life, but we can, but whatever we are doing should be like beneficial for maximum number of people.
Yeah, this part you can consider, then it is clear. Eradicate hurdles, whatever we have, that is enough for law. Rest things, people will take care of it.
Okay.
Next one is societal view. It is based on the concept that people living in a society come together to decide what their rights and liabilities will be. Thus, rather than focusing only on welfare of individuals or society, people will decide for themselves what they want. There is also a theory called a social contract theory. It is like, we know that we are living in a society. There is such a huge number of population living in a society, and we will have differences in our opinions. So definitely there will be conflicts also. Okay, conflicts amongst people living in a society is something which will be there. We cannot just avoid it. So this theory, right, it basically says that we know about, like, we can come together and decide our rights and liabilities. Okay, so rather than focusing only on welfare of individuals or society, people will decide for themselves what they want. Because we all know what like conflicts are bound to arise, we are living in a society, we decide what we want. Take for example, when there is a law like Indian Penal Code, it is saying murder is a crime, it is saying kidnapping is a crime, it is saying cruelty is a crime. Okay, that means we are only deciding, we are only saying that okay fine, we all live in a society, there might be conflict, there might be fights amongst people, some people might be willing to commit a crime, some people might be short tempered, they might lose their temper, do something. So what we are doing is we are accepting that okay fine, if we are also committing these crimes, we are ready to face the consequences. Okay, like we are sacrificing it, we are saying if we commit any of these crimes, punish us, no problem, but we need one security, we need one assurance that if someone else is committing those crimes against us, that person will get a severe punishment. Okay, so in order to get that assurance that if someone kills us, if someone kidnaps us, if someone commits theft or whatever type of offense, we have an assurance that law is there to provide punishment. How did we get this assurance? Because we have also sacrificed something. We have also said that if we are doing the same, we will also be liable to the same sort of punishment. Okay, so this might sound a little confusing, but this theory was like, like it's again like a primitive theory only. Like just take the example of a society where like for the first time, like this established form of government happened. All right, so what people would do? People will elect their representatives. People would give vote, elect their representatives, so that representatives can make some laws, pass some legislations. Okay, now when we are voting, when we are selecting our representatives, we are sacrificing, right? We are saying that okay fine, whatever laws you are passing, we
are ready to
we would accept.
We are ready to obey.
We are ready to obey. Now we do not know whether those laws would be good or bad, but still we are like sacrificing that thing, having trust on that person. Why? Because we think about like we want to protect our rights. For that we need some obligations as well. Okay, so this concept is based on this social contract theory, which said that people were living in a society together. There used to be conflict. Society was like very bad. People were suffering. So people came together and they said, okay, fine, we are ready to obey whatever you are saying, but we want some sort of protection. Just like how we have IPC right now. right? That if we are doing those same crimes, we will be held liable, but still we respect IPC because we know if some crime is committed against us, that person would also get punishment under IPC.
Okay.
Okay, is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
This one you can remember, that society came together to decide what their rights and obligations will be, and this was necessary for people to live peacefully because there will be differences of opinion taking place in the society.
All right.
Okay, so this was remaining from unit 1. With that, unit 1 is over. From unit 2 we will see what is remaining.
This keyword, whatever you now underline, no, that's just, if you can possibly just this part only, can you message me that the notes?
Okay, fine.
With
I'll
the
share this
keywords.
updated copy to you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.